Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a topic many people around the world are trying to understand, a topic surrounded by confusion, headlines, and global reactions. What's really happening in Denmark right now? There's a lot of noise online, and a lot of people repeating information without understanding the full picture. So in this video, we're going to break everything down in a clear and balanced way, exploring the decisions Denmark has made, why they've made them, and how these choices are affecting not only the country itself, but also Europe and the wider world. The goal here is to help you truly understand the situation so you can form your own informed opinion instead of relying on rumors or half-explained news. Over the past few months, Denmark has been facing a combination of political pressure, economic shifts, security concerns, and social debates that finally reached a point where the government had to make bold, controversial decisions. Some people are calling these decisions necessary, others are calling them extreme, and some believe they will change the future of the entire region. But before we dive into the consequences, we need to understand the root of these decisions. Denmark has always been known for its stability, strong social systems, and well-managed policies. So for a country like this to take dramatic steps means there is something much deeper happening beneath the surface. One of the biggest turning points was the rising pressure around migration and border control. Denmark has been experiencing a steady increase in asylum applications and temporary migrants, not just from war zones, but also from regions suffering from economic collapse. The country's population growth has become uneven, and authorities started to argue that the system was no longer balanced. Supporters of the new measures say Denmark's welfare model can only survive if the population remains sustainable and manageable. Critics, however, believe these measures go against humanitarian values and could set a dangerous example for other European nations. Another major influence is Denmark's role within the European Union. While Denmark is a strong EU member, it has always had a slightly different approach compared to other countries. It keeps certain laws independent from EU regulations and often negotiates special agreements. Recently, Denmark's leadership started expressing concerns about EU border policies, energy distribution, and increasing financial responsibilities placed on member countries. These tensions grew stronger as new economic forecasts predicted slower growth across Europe. Danish leaders began arguing that the country needed stronger control over its internal affairs to prevent economic pressure from worsening. Then came the issue of national security. Denmark has been working closely with NATO and other European countries, and the government claimed there were increasing risks coming from cyber threats, espionage activities, and international conflicts. While many experts agree that Europe is entering a more unpredictable phase, others believe Denmark exaggerated some threats to justify strict new policies. Whether or not those claims were overstated, they definitely played a crucial role in shaping public opinion, especially among those who were already concerned about national safety. At the same time, Denmark has been undergoing major changes in its energy sector. The global shift toward renewable energy, combined with rising fuel prices, put pressure on the country to secure stable, long-term energy sources. Denmark has always been a leader in wind energy and sustainability, but the government argued that the increasing global instability required new strategies. They began looking into new partnerships, new trade routes, and new alternatives that could keep the country energy secure for decades to come. This included tough negotiations that some critics felt were rushed or too aggressive. Domestically, Denmark has also been dealing with the challenge of keeping its social welfare system strong while managing rising expenses. Healthcare, education, housing, elderly care, these sectors require constant investment. With economic uncertainty growing, the government believed major reforms were needed to prevent long-term damage. Some of these reforms introduced stricter rules for benefits, tougher requirements for long-term residency, and adjustments to social programs that had been unchanged for years. The public reaction to these changes was mixed. Some people supported them for being practical, while others criticized them for being too harsh. As all these issues collided, the Danish government made decisions that shocked many observers. These decisions were designed to protect the country from what leaders described as future instability, but critics argue they were based on political strategy rather than actual necessity. Social media quickly turned the situation into a storm, with many people sharing dramatic explanations without understanding the context. That's why it's important to look at the full picture before jumping to conclusions. One of the most discussed points is the tightening of immigration policies. Denmark introduced measures that affect asylum seekers, migrants already in the country, and new applicants. These measures aim to minimize illegal entry, reduce pressure on welfare programs, and ensure that those who stay can fully integrate. Supporters say this will help maintain social harmony. Critics say it could lead to isolation and reduce Denmark's humanitarian role globally. The international response has been divided, with some countries praising Denmark's boldness, while others strongly disapprove. Another controversial decision involves border control. Denmark increased checkpoints, strengthened surveillance, and introduced new cooperation strategies with neighboring countries. People traveling into and out of Denmark may experience more restrictions than before. The government claims this will protect national security and help prevent illegal trafficking. Opponents believe this will harm tourism, weaken openness, and create unnecessary fear among the population. Economically, Denmark also approved new policies aimed at stabilizing markets and protecting local industries. These include tax reforms, labor market adjustments, and foreign trade restrictions. Companies are still trying to understand what these changes mean for their operations, and analysts are divided on whether this will help or hurt Denmark in the long term. Some reports say investors are uncertain, while others claim the new policies could strengthen Denmark's position if executed properly. Public reaction within Denmark has been mixed and often emotional. Some citizens feel safer and more optimistic about the future. Others worry that the country is becoming less open and less flexible. Protests have been held in several cities, while other groups have expressed strong support for the government's decisions. This divide reflects a broader trend happening in many countries, where people are torn between preserving stability and maintaining openness. Internationally, Denmark's actions are being closely watched. Countries across Europe wonder whether Denmark will influence their own political debates. Some leaders are discussing whether similar policies might be necessary for their countries, while others fear this shift could increase tension within the EU. The global community, including organizations focused on human rights and international cooperation, has asked Denmark to reconsider some of its strict measures, but so far the government has stood firmly behind its decisions. Another important factor to understand is how media coverage has shaped the perceptions around this situation. Some news outlets have focused on the extreme aspects, making the situation appear more dramatic than it actually is. Others have downplayed the seriousness of the decisions. Social media has added even more confusion, with people sharing unverified information, exaggerated claims, and sometimes completely false stories. All of this creates a complicated environment where the truth becomes harder to see. That's why it's important to separate facts from opinions. Beyond all of this, Denmark is also preparing for future challenges. Climate change, global economic shifts, and increasing geopolitical tensions are all influencing government strategies. Denmark wants to stay ahead of these challenges, and many officials believe that making tough decisions now will protect the country in the long run. Whether they are right or wrong remains to be seen, but it's clear that the government is prioritizing long-term stability over short-term popularity. For many people, the biggest question is what will happen next. Will Denmark soften its policies once the situation stabilizes, or will these new measures become a permanent part of the country's structure? Will other nations follow Denmark's example, or will they take a different path? There are no easy answers at this point, but analysts believe the coming months will be crucial. How the government handles public reaction, international criticism, and economic performance will determine whether these decisions succeed or fail. As we try to understand all of this, one thing becomes clear: Denmark is at a crossroads. The choices it's making today will shape its future for decades. Whether these choices lead to stability or create new challenges is something only time will reveal. But what we can say for sure is that Denmark is not acting randomly or without reason. These decisions stem from real pressures and real concerns, even if people disagree on how those concerns should be addressed. What's happening in Denmark is a reminder that even the most stable and well-developed countries can face profound challenges that require difficult decisions. It also shows how connected the world has become. Choices made by one nation can create ripples across an entire region. And in an era where information spreads faster than ever, it's essential to stay informed, question sources, and seek clarity. As we come to the end of this deep dive, remember that the situation is still developing. We will continue to cover updates as they unfold, helping you stay informed with clear explanations and unbiased viewpoints. If you want to stay ahead of what's happening in Europe and around the world, make sure to keep following the channel. More updates are coming soon, and we'll break everything down step by step, so you never feel lost or confused. Thank you for watching, thank you for staying informed, and thank you for taking the time to understand what's truly happening beneath the headlines. Stay safe, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next video.